Today we're back with our final part with Fishstick from I Don't Know Radio, and today we're going to talk about balls, or actor that died actually. Yeah.
Charlie Daniels passed away recently.
Cool topic, buddy.
Which is sad. I'm sorry. It's sad, but also he was like, I was like reading up on him after that. I was like, oh no, he's the Devil Went Down to Georgia guy. But he also said like a lot of really shitty stuff. So then I was like, oh no, that's also sad. Incredibly talented musician.
Pretty much everybody in history.
Kind of like most people, though. Most people below a certain like time, like any musician before the 60s, they're always kind of shitty people. But sometimes they do really good work.
I mean, yeah, there's a whole death of the artist is a real thing that I believe in. But there's also like, there's a certain amount that is like, okay, well, this person, you know, it's not the worst stuff. And then there's some people where you find out like, oh, they did some real bad stuff. Like Picasso was a real piece of garbage. Like super abusive to his partners and like all of this other stuff. And it's like, well, his art was really cool though. So like, that one's easier because you can't directly support Picasso anymore because he's toast.
Yeah, it's interesting to when an artist who is a very talented artist does a shitty thing, like can you still enjoy the art without directly, like without it being in support of the shitty person? That's a really hard divorce for a lot of people.
My punk rock solution to that, and this is not ethical, is steal it. Pirate it. If there's like the art is still good, the person is shitty, so actively deprive them of benefiting, but still enjoy it yourself. Which I'm not advocating for anyone to do anything illegal. That is a conceptual, theoretical way that you could get around it. But also, like, you know, the concept death of the artist is like you don't. Art is separate from its creator once it has been released. There's a certain point where it is bigger than them. Like J.K. Rowling has said a lot of stuff that is shitty and super misinformed about the trans community. And so a lot of people are like, well, now Harry Potter's ruined. And it's like, well, no, because it's bigger than just this one person and what she said. Like, it still has an importance culturally and just emotionally. So, like, I am a firm believer that you can still enjoy art even if the person who made it turns out to have been really
I 100% agree. I think art transcends its creator.
I think a lot of
death of the artist.
I think a lot of times the art is actually a lot of times smarter than the creator, and it's like the artist is a personality. It's you know, they're obviously a person who created the thing. Blah 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 blah. But I also feel like there's all these subconscious and unconscious forces that come together to create the art itself. And that those forces are oftentimes not the persona or the person that's actually out there in the world operating. Like, I feel like they're kind of two different things. And so...
Right. And plus, once the audience reads their own meanings into it and they've had their own experiences with it and it relates to them in certain ways, it almost transforms the work even then. Like, the author created it with a certain intent and puts it out there. Maybe other people read other things into it and it comes to mean something different and it grows and evolves into something different, as well as not really being, like you said, a representation of the artist wholeheartedly or anything.
Well, have you ever like seen like an artist and like they make this work that has this awesome like message and everything, or maybe this awesome plot and everything, and then it's like there's this whole message or like say moral to the story, but then like the artist comes out and says that this is actually what it means, and it's like, no, that's not what you wrote. This is completely antithetical to what you actually wrote here, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's, when people try and explain something like that, it can ruin it. Or not ruin it, but there's literally points where you can be like, no, you're wrong, person who made this, at least in the way that I want to enjoy it. There's this subjectivity of it.
So...
There's a long-winded way for me just to say I agree with you.
Or when artists, like, they write a song and go on a video and say, this is how I play it. And you're like, that's totally not how you play it. This is not what it sounds like on the album. Sorry, you're wrong.
Oh, I haven't seen that. But that's like watching like a guitar tutorial of something.
Well, it's like Alex Lifeson from Rush. He's like, okay, this is how I play Spirit Radio. And he like plays it on like the tutorial. And it's like, there's actually like, that's not actually how you play it on the album. Yeah, it's like...
It's just wrong?
It seems it's how he
What's
plays
he
it
doing?
live, but it's like there's actually a funny video where this guy like shows like I know this is how he says he plays it on the video here, but this is actually not how he plays it. Like don't pay attention to him. Like it sounds fine, I guess, but this is not actually how you play it.
That's especially bad because that's like a technical thing in this case of how to play part of an instrument. For them to get it wrong is weird.
Or maybe it's evolved over time.
Bizarre.
Well, sometimes I
that.
think it's easier to play it live a certain way. Like I love Rush. Rush is amazing. They do good live, but you know I don't think they. Okay, the drummer, I forget his name, Neil Peart. Okay, amazing drummer. He does everything amazing. Alex Lifeson, amazing guitarist. He does great live, but I don't think he does as well live as he does in studio. And I'm not saying he does bad live. I'm just saying, like, I think in studio he's a better performer.
I've noticed some bands are like that they're way better, or some bands are the opposite, where they're just amazing live, but their studio recordings sound like hot dick, like Fish. Their studio recordings are terrible, but all of their live recordings from shows, like, that's what they've built around, and, like, those are very good. And usually live recordings can be a bit iffy, but then there's bands like Modest Mouse where they're way better in the studio than they are live. Or Train, which is hot garbage.
Mediocre at best on recording, but I remember hearing them. For some reason, they played Drops of Jupiter at the All-Star game for baseball one year. And it was the worst live performance I've ever seen in my entire life, and it was nationally broadcast.
I've seen Train live, and they were actually decent.
Yeah. They're so bad.
They
bad
used to
band.
be good, man. That first album was cool. Second album was all right. And like by the time you got to Save Me San Francisco, it started to fall.
When he said, I need a hefty bag to hold your that broke me. When you have to name drop hefty, and you're saying I hold your love in my garbage bag, that's not
Their
a
lyrics
romantic,
have
buddy.
always been trash, though. Like, I mean, even think about, like, Meet Virginia is probably the most evocative song they've written, but even then, she smokes a pack a day. Oh, wait, that's me. But anyway, like, I just always assumed they weren't taking themselves seriously. I don't care much for lyrics.
I love lyrics, and that's why I train so bad. Thank you for coming.
Good to have you on.
Steve's lyrics are so good.
Steve's lyrics are good.
Oh, well, thank you guys. That's very humbling.
I know I just said I don't care much for lyrics, but there's a lot of caveats in there. It's like a whole caveat garden.
That's my favorite Beatles song.
Caveat. I'd like to be a little bit more specific.
It's like there's certain lyrics I really like. So like Eminem, his lyrics are really good. Dio, Ronnie James Dio, his lyrics are really good. But you generally
Holy diver.
Down in the midnight sea.
that's pretty accurate.
There's a Kill Switch Engage version that I like better, but that's because I'm a trash person. There's Modest Mouse, again, probably one of my favorite bands. Their lyrics are my favorite lyrics because they are all really weird and out there and just evocative of imagery, and sometimes they don't have meaning. Sometimes they're really not meant to be taken seriously. Modest Mouse lyrics are probably my favorite style of writing lyrics, where it's evocative without being in your face about any particular thing.
Third Planet's an amazing song.
Yes.
Their albums are so underrated because people know like Float On, which is great. That's a jam. But that's not necessarily indicative of what all they do. They're really talented for what I would consider very dissonant sound.
Yes, and layers and layers. Like, I've listened to all of their albums a lot, and every now and then I'll pick up on a new like guitar line that's in the background of one part and be like, oh, I haven't paid attention to that. So
it's enjoyable dissonance, which I have so much respect for.
Yes. I thoroughly love the way they compose things, and which is why they're not as great live, because it's like a handful of people, and they can't multi-track.
Another really great artist, lyrical artist that nobody knows in mainstream is Matt Drew, my good friend. From
Matt Drew
Moses.
is good shit.
He has amazing. I love his vocals. Zach, the guitarist for O Moses, it's just two guitarists, and one of them's a singer, and one's a rhythm guitarist, and one does the lead. And amazing work by both of them. But Matt's lyrics, one time I had said a lyric and he's like, oh yeah, that's from one of my songs. I'm like, no, that was Dave Matthews. And he's like, no, it's from my song. I wrote it. I would know. And he showed me and I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, I swore you stole that from somebody.
That's like the thing we were talking about earlier with other people thinking they came up with your idea, except you thought Dave Matthews came up with Matt's idea.
Exactly that. And I love Dave Matthews as a lyricist. I like what they do, but and like Matt, I love Matt Drew's stuff.
Yeah, same. Big same. I thoroughly enjoy the album, Oh Moses, the self-titled album.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, sorry, it's The Company You Keep. I mixed that up.
It is indeed.
It just says Oh Moses in big letters at the top, and there's like that splotch.
Yeah. Which kind of looks like a COVID cell now that I think about it.
Damn it, Drew.
Matt Drew, you're responsible for COVID.
What I hate about Matt Drew is that he plays stuff live, and it sounds so good. Like we've had, like, especially in the past, Drew's like come with a guitar and this played stuff, and it's like, fuck you. Like, why do you have such talent?
Why are you so good?
Like, why can you sing, play guitar at the same time, and have it sound good? Like, even if you're doing it live. Like, I know people do that each and every day, but a lot of times you play shit live, and it's like, okay. Like, you're overrated. Like, but Matt Drew, you play shit live, and you're like, fuck you. Stop being so good at just playing stuff.
My favorite people are the people who are so good at things it's maddening. I love it. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There was that.
It's a similar. Sorry, Nate.
There's a time where, like, Matt Drew and Steve came up with something just like a parody song or something on the fly, and then they just started performing it. I'm like, God damn it. Stop.
That's how you and I wrote Oven Mitts.
Okay. I went home and I composed it and made it amazing that way. I am more like prepare it in the back and it comes good. Like Matt Drew is more like just come up with it like in the moment and it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
I definitely get the being more of like composing and arranging and building something out of pieces rather than. I don't know. It makes me feel like not being a real musician when I'm only good if I have complete creative control over like cutting and chopping and screwing the whole thing.
I mean, that's how I am with lyrics. A lot of people can come up with them on the fly, but I need to have the inspiration and then I want to fine tune it after. But I think that there's a lot to be said about the spontaneity in art being a very important part of art. It doesn't necessarily have to be the only thing, but for the people who can make it the only thing, very impressive.
It's like catching lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
My method is kind of like I am a very big improviser. I love improvising. I think I do good with soloing, improvising, and stuff like that. But it's like I take my improvisations and I kind of mold them into something like usable or tenable, and that's how I work. But it's like maybe the original improvisation is not that great. It's like I show people my demo work and stuff, and they're like, "Ugh, that needs a lot of work." I'm like, "No, just hear the thing beyond the thing," and they can't. But
right,
like I can see like what's there, and I think my improvisations are great. But people often have to listen to the finished work to actually like enjoy it. Whereas some people, the finished, or they can come up with something improvised, and it sounds like the finished work. Like you don't know the difference. Or
Right.
maybe the finished work sounds far better and far, great. But Matt Drew is definitely one of those artists where like the improvisation or where he comes up initially sounds like the finished work a lot of times. Not me.
I don't understand people like that, and it is maddening. It's similar to the feeling when you see a kitten and you're like, I want to hug it and squeeze it until it literally explodes into a pile of blood and guts because it's so cute. You know, the cute aggression.
I think that's right along that same line of laughter versus crying being the same side, the two sides to the same coin.
Right.
Cuteness and violence are right along that same line.
Right, because you see a cat and you're just like, I want to scruff your face, and then you're like, and then you're shaking the cat and you're like, oh, what am I doing? Poor kitty. Except maybe not like I made that sound scary, like I mistreat animals, but I was exaggerating to make a point. Like that feeling.
How are those chickens doing? Those aggressive chickens.
Oh, they're good. I don't pet them because they bite.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a side tangent, but there's actually a weird biological thing with that. Neurobiological. So I think it's called the amygdala. The amygdala is the aggression center of the brain, but it's also the love center of the brain.
It's like your reptile brain, isn't it?
Is that right?
Isn't that like the part that controls a lot of just like your base, like fight or flight and all of that other stuff?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. You're right. Yeah. So amygdala it's almost like this little part of the brain, and reptile brain is like a few different things.
Gotcha.
But that's where I got confused. But there's the amygdala, which is a part of that reptile brain, but it's fight or flight, but it's also kind of love part of your brain. It's a very big bonding part of your brain. And so when you really love something, it's like, that part of your brain lights up a lot. But also when you hate something, get really angry and just want to destroy it, that's also the same part of the brain. It's also why a lot of times when you feel this kind of feeling of love or cuteness, you also kind of want to kill it too.
It's not like an active, like, I want this to stop existing. It's just like, oh, I want to hug this and like hug it really hard.
Oh, okay. That's fair. So I went a little bit overboard with that analogy, but yes, it's kind of why those two feelings are also inextricably linked together a lot of times for people. Not myself. Like, I don't love things a lot of times. Like, I'm more just kind of like, oh, that's amusing. But people who do have kind of those feelings, that's why those exist at the same time.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like crosstalk going on between those regions of the brain.
Yeah, it's the same thing with, what is it, foot fetishes? People who have a foot fetish, the hypothesis behind that is that the sensation for the foot, like if you look at a map of the brain, different mappings for like what controls that part of the brain and which controls that kind of part of the body. So like there's a certain part of your brain that controls the arm, certain part of the brain that controls the foot. And that part that controls the foot is very close to the part that has sexual desire and has sexual arousal. And sometimes those wires get crossed. So the part that...
So is that...
Oh, sorry, go on.
Is that why that's like the most common fetish?
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh.
At least that's the theory. It's just those people tend to have a little bit of crosstalk there with the foot fetish and also the sexual arousal. That's why they tend to be there, and that's why I don't think it's that weird. I mean, it's weird, but it's also not. Okay, I think the weird
There's
is
nothing
stupid.
wrong with being weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
I hate feet, so what's wrong with my brain then?
You built a wall along the southern border.
Ah, that's what it is. Keep those toes out of my sex, please.
Yeah.
Cover your feet with plastic bags. Cover up those table legs, mother, that are inflaming my sexual ardor.
why are you so good voices?
I'm not. I'm losing my brains over here.
That's fine.
Talking about neurological crosstalk, are any of you sun sneezers?
It used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you used to
Yeah.
be. If I stick my head out that door and look at the sun, I'm going to sneeze. And people don't believe me that that's what it is. And I have to explain that the nerves that cause your eyes to dilate or to constrict, that cause your pupils to get smaller, are close to the nerves that cause you to sneeze. And in some people, and there's like a percentage of the population where highlight, when bright light will make you sneeze. There we go. Highlights magazine does not do the same thing.
Well, usually when I'm reading highlights, I'm sneezing because I'm at the doctor.
I have never been to the doctor.
Bold claim.
I don't believe in it. I get all my medicine from Bill Gates and the microchip he put in my phone.
Every time I go to the doctor, he just tells me to masturbate.
I don't think that's a doctor. I have a sneaking suspicion that that's not a doctor.
Since we're in Fun Fact City right now, I learned the funnest fact of all time yesterday on the Joe Rogan podcast. I know Fish Stick just loves Joe Rogan so much. Okay, but that's his guest. His guest was amazing.
I hate Joe Rogan. Oh my God, Joe Rogan can eat my entire ass, and I won't enjoy it. He can eat it.
Your big ass.
I'm gonna cut it off, and I'll make him eat it with his stinky teeth, raw. He's a garbage person. Continue.
I wish Joe Rogan was my dad. He'd be the best dad of all
Me
time.
too, because then I'd know where he was, so I could give him a piece of my fucking mind. That dude has way too much. He's so much bullshit.
Okay, but he had this guest on there who is like this neurobiologist, and he had the most amazing fact I've ever heard, which is the eyes. People think the eyes are just like separate. Like you think your hand is like, oh, this is my hand, right? My hand is appendage. But he was explaining how your eyes are actually your brain. It's not just like it's part of your brain or, it interfaces with your brain. But if you actually look at how your eyes develop, your brain, as it's developing, it kind of creates the eyes and actually...
Oh, it like spits them out?
Spits them out, essentially. And your eyes are not part of your brain. They actually are brain. like there's no differentiation there.
The same kind of tissue makes up the nerves in your eyes and the eyes themselves as brain tissue, like that fatty.
Yes, but it's a little bit more than that. It's like it's the same thing that makes it up. It's actually like it is the same thing. It's like
Can you send me a clip but edit out Joe Rogan's voice so I can hear it?
that'd be a lot of work. So no, but yes.
Just send me the clip.
Nate, just do a voiceover where you are Joe Rogan interviewing this guy, and then put it out on the internet as your interview with him.
Yeah, but say things.
But say all
smarter.
the same things.
No, don't say the same things. Say things that an
Say all
asshole
the
wouldn't say.
Say all the same things, but smarter.
That's another idea there too. Like okay.
And release it on Pornhub.
Like you just have like guests on, but for a podcast.
That whole show that's on Podcast NH. It's like
is there?
Yeah, it's done by Logan.
Mm-hmm. That's not Podcast NH though. That's Podcast USA.
Oh, Podcast USA.
Yeah, but he's from Montana.
He does that, kind of. His are weird.
He did. Yeah, he stopped doing This Is Not a Podcast, and now he has another one called probably the same thing. He released it on the same RSS feed.
So he just like kind of like does a podcast, but he like.
No, do you ever see the
You cannot
the Weird Al show?
Yeah.
Where he fake interviews people. He cuts in himself on other people's interviews.
Yeah.
And then has them fake answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's that.
Okay.
But Logan is one of those people who doesn't have so much of a train of thought as he has like a highway of thought cars that are all getting into accidents all over the place, and you can't follow it. His brain is amazing.
It's the Weird Al interview segment, if done by Eric Andre on meth.
Yeah. His brain is a masterpiece, and I would love to just insert myself onto the wall of his brain and watch, because I don't understand it.
He really is very, very talented. I think I called it the most avant-garde podcast in the world, and I think he thought that was a very good compliment.
There's few people where you have no idea what's going on in their head, and he's one of them, and it's amazing.
It's one of those things where you're like, I don't know if I'm enjoying this or not, but I can definitely say it's art.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm having feelings.
There's no doubt this is an art right now. There's art happening to me, and I'll feel something.
Did someone arted?
Who arted? That's my new podcast.
Okay, is that a natural joke that exists,
Right.
or did you just come up with that, Mason?
I said it, but I'm pretty sure it's been done because it's the most fucking obvious joke on the planet besides Joe Rogan. See, that's a better
That was
joke.
a Mason original.
that one's. Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Not all of our guests are able to just have free-form banter that works. Mason is not one of the guests. Mason is able to banter like a pro.
Oh, thanks.
You're pretty much a part of the show.
Oh, thanks, guys. I felt bad that I might monopolize the conversation too much.
If I die, Nathan, I need you to bring Mason in as the new host.
Okay.
I'm going to pretend to be Steve, and I'm going to puppet his corpse around in front of the microphone, and it's going to be macabre as fuck. But Steve will write that into his will, right?
Oh, for sure. It's going to be the Weekend at Bernie's clause.
Yeah, exactly. Except way more sexual. That's not the word I meant to say, but I couldn't think of a good word. I'm sorry.
But it works just the same.
Steve, your butt is nice and your teeth are great.
I appreciate that.
Take notes,
I
Nate.
got what you meant. I need you to apologize, silly.
I'm sorry.
That's not silly.
I was going to do the Jim Carrey thing and bend over with my ass. I'm sorry, Daddy.
Okay. There's just one.
Has this devolved enough?
No.
Can we stop?
No, there's just one last topic I want to get into. Okay. So let's say that you are with somebody and you're getting romantic, right? And they ask you how their butt smells. If you say it's smelly, is that offensive? I mean, is that like, I don't know. I mean, because that's how butts should be, right? I mean, if a butt's not smelly, it's not.
I don't know. My initial response was very middle ground. It'd be, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. It's all right.
It's the greatest question in quantum mechanics. If a butt doesn't smell, is it really a butt?
Yeah, If it walks like a butt and talks like a butt,
Okay.
It's a duck.
it's a duck.
It's Joe Rogan.
It's Joe Rogan. Fucking got him, dude. Take that, you big fucking idiot. You stupid, problematic platforming and pieces of shit, garbage man. Oh, fucking eat it. Yeah, Steve.
Okay. One last
killing
topic.
it.
Boy, that was
One last
funny.
question.
Nate's just gonna cut that
Well,
out. He's like,
here's-
no, Daddy Rogan. He's
I
gonna be
did-
mad.
Okay.
Here's my legit thing on that, okay?
I'm sorry.
Honesty is always the right answer. Hard stop, end of thought.
Yeah. But why? Well, Nate, let's elaborate on the question. Why would they ask that in the middle of coitus?
Okay. There's just not a real reason. It's not a thing. But okay, I have a side modus operandi with that question. I have okay. So
Okay.
I smell good. Like I bathe. Like I don't think. Okay, there's times I smell bad. I'm a person, but I keep very good care of my body. I wash myself very well, but there's something about myself where it's like I wash my balls. They still smell. It's like I could shower, take a bunch of soap, like I scrub them. Like I do a very good job. Like there should be no smell left. I get out, I touch my hand to my balls. I smell my hand. It smells like balls still.
Oh, that's weird. Because I was going to say, I'm sure that if you spent all of your time tucked between two hot, dark thighs, trapped in a layer of thick cloth, you'd start smelling bad, because that's what balls, how they live. But if you're talking immediately after showering, perhaps you need to use Dawn dish soap, because it's a strong surfactant and can break down oils.
I've used Dove soap, which is very good. Not Dawn, but Dove. And then right after, I've used Old Spice body wash,
Okay.
and it doesn't smell like Old Spice. It smells like balls.
The body wash on the rest of your body smells like balls?
The body wash on the rest of my body smells like body wash. If I smell my arms, smell my armpits. Okay. Armpits always smell great, right? I mean, after a shower. Mm-hmm. I touch my armpits. I'm like, oh, hey, this smells like, Dove, or this smells like Old Spice. Touch my balls, smell my hand. Huh, balls. So the question here really was about myself. I'm sorry I misled you guys, but the question is, maybe an asshole just smells like an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Joe Rogan always smokes his big stupid cigars, to get the smell out of the room.
So here's a really good way to handle that, Nathan. It sounds like you're
Sorry, Nate.
really concerned that you're going to get yourself into an embarrassing situation where you say the wrong answer when asked that really important question at an important time. So here's a masterful tip that you can use well outside of this if you can conceptualize it.
That's condescending.
Reverse the question. Reverse the question. So
Can you smell my balls?
no. Does my butt stink? Like, oh yeah, baby. What do you think? Now they're going to tell you what they want to hear, and then you can just agree with them.
I don't want you to misconstrue the fact that I'm going to have trouble putting together a response to be some kind of tacit agreement with this tactic.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a hard time putting together any kind of a counter argument.
Okay, so that means I'm right?
Does my butt smell? What do you think? It's pretty far from my nose. I'm asking a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are we having a dialogue or intercourse? I don't know. Put it in me. That's how I imagine that conversation would continue. So
That's a win, right?
I mean, is that a bad thing? Or, Nate, why did you say butt instead of balls, though? Like, why? What? I feel like there's another secret layer to this on top of that. Have you tried putting your hand in your butt and then smelling it after you've showered? And does it smell like butt?
Okay. We're going
This may just be
to
an
a
issue
place
if you're
I
not
didn't
paying
want to
enough
go.
attention when you're
Okay.
washing those areas. Though it sounds like you have, because you've had concerns, so you really scrub it and it still smells like balls.
Okay, first I want to say, fuck you, fish stick. You caught into my plan. Because I just wanted you guys to agree with me, to be honest.
I knew there was another layer.
God damn it. Okay. All right. I'm coming clean. All right.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not coming clean. That's the issue. See, my point was that I just wanted to have you guys say, "Oh yeah, like when I wash my balls, like they smell too."
Nate's gonna mail us a scratch and sniff of his nuts.
You know, it just smell like balls. That's just how balls smell. That's not what I want it to be. Like you know, there's no say cleaning of an asshole that doesn't make it not smell like an asshole. That's just how they smell, right? Same with balls.
Oh. So this was a test if we were supportive friends and we failed, is what you're saying.
No, I had a hypothesis. The hypothesis
that we would say that.
Yes, that an asshole just smells like an asshole, and there's no scrubbing of balls. There's no, say, application of fragrance that doesn't make balls not smell like balls. I mean, it's gonna smell like fragrance, but also balls, and that's just how they smell. And that
I don't know if that's true.
Well, there wasn't a question.
Nate's got stinky parts, and he's trying to now he's post-rationalizing it, like we talked about way back.
So what's the question?
And that's what's happening is that Nate's like, no, it was all an experiment. My balls don't smell, and that's where we are.
Oh no.
Do they? Nate, you have thrown so many twists. I can't. I need a fucking conspiracy board with red thread and tacks.
I'm gonna be very to the point here. The whole point of that question, the whole point of this dilude was you guys to say that sometimes the thing is just the thing. You know, asshole smells like asshole, balls smell like balls. There's nothing you do about it. It's like, you know, sometimes you have a friend, the friend smells, and you say, oh, just take a bath, just take a shower, and you'll smell better. That's true, right?
Generally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, you take some other things, right? And that thing is just the thing in itself, right? You know, maybe your face, maybe you can get plastic surgery, maybe these things can do to it, but, you know, there's not much you can do to improve it, right? Like, Steve, take your face, about as good as it's going to get. Take my face, about as good as it's going to get. Maybe there's some things I can do to make it a little bit better. Maybe there's some things I can do to make it not worse. But that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, my thought here was that was just my balls, right? You know, maybe that's just how they are. Maybe they just kind of smell. But I was hoping that was the case.
Is this like some perverted version of Waiting for Godot? Like, what is this soliloquy about? You said you were going to get to the point, and I feel like we're still miles away, and we're just like circling your balls. Do your balls smell, Nate? Even when you wash them?
Yes, the problem. But it sounds like you guys' balls don't smell after you wash them. It smells like it sounds like
don't.
like they just. That's the problem.
Okay, so you know what you need is you need a soap that breaks down oils better because you probably just have oilier skin down there, dude. I have dry skin and I need to moisturize, and sometimes it gets dry down there, and that sucks. But I don't have an oil problem. I have the opposite. So it sounds like you just need a soap that has a stronger surfactant. Is that what you wanted? You could have just said my balls stink. Help. Instead of...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And don't say this wasn't the point, because I just don't believe you anymore.
Nate, you just
okay. You guys are just
Nate,
there.
you got oil balls.
Rubbing it in. You're just like, oh yeah, my
Nate,
balls.
you just got
don't
oil
smell.
balls.
My balls have never
bud.
smelled. Like I didn't know the point of this conversation. I wasn't trying to rub this in. Yeah, okay, Nate, your balls smell.
Nate,
yeah, just get better soap.
Here's the thing. I don't think your balls smell too bad. I'm sure that it's not as bad as you're thinking. I'm sure that it's just a self-conscious thing, and it's okay because we are human beings that are just these nasty, gross monkeys that have decided to live inside in sterile houses, so we have this obsession with cleanliness. And it's okay that your big, gross monkey body does big, gross monkey body stuff sometimes. Mine does. Steve's body does things that I'm sure would break the Geneva Convention. It's okay to have stank balls, and it's not something to be ashamed of. And if you hate it, get stronger soap. I'm not shaming you. It's okay. I have a giant nose. I can't get better soap to fix that. I've scrubbed the hell out of it, and then it just bleeds, and I taste the blood because I think I have a neurological problem. When you hit your nose, do you taste blood?
Okay.
I do.
Yes.
Hey, Nate.
Oh.
Hey, Nate, I got a question. Did you ask your girlfriend if the smelly balls is a problem?
That's probably the most important person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. this goes to another. I haven't asked her since, but there's this time where it's like, it's like I got a blowjob, and she's like, "Can you shower?" And the thing is, I showered.
When though?
Like an hour before.
Oh, like only 1 hour before? Okay.
Okay, right. And it's not like she was licking my balls or anything, but I'm just like, okay, I'll shower.
Yeah.
So then I showered. Maybe I used a little too much soap, and she came back to it, and she's like, I don't know, doesn't taste that great. I'm like, okay. And so then it's like,
Yeah, that would-
Working out.
it happened in the shower, and she's like, it's like, what? And she's like, it tastes like coffee. I'm like, what? It just tastes like coffee.
No, Nate, you're. Oh, Jesus. Nate, your balls don't stink. Her breath does.
Is this what it's all been about?
Flavored lube.
No,
Flavored
I
lube.
don't want to put that on her.
Fuck,
I don't.
fuck,
that
fuck.
would. I did. Yeah, we did hear about it, but they stink like mint, not like coffee. But the thing is, that would ruin my
So did you get
self-confidence,
creamer
too,
and
so don't feel bad.
milk?
My stinky
Milk
teeth
and sugar
me.
and-
My stinky teeth and me. My stinky teeth. Sing with me.
Have
Well, I did.
Yeah.
I did hear about
Yeah.
her stinky teeth.
My stinky teeth and me. My stinky teeth.
Are you singing? Are you singing Chip's Skylark parody?
Yes.
Which is already a parody in and of itself, Nathan.
damn it, Steve.
Oh God.
You know what? We need to talk.